Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD Gets You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also founded one of the first generative AI companies, pre-Transformer models, in 2016, Eva, your virtual assistant. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. With that, I'd like to introduce my incredible guest, McKevin Ayaba. He is a globally recognized leader in innovation strategy, investment readiness, and ecosystem building. He's the founder and CEO of Startup. He empowers entrepreneurs across the African continent. His key achievements: he's been founded the Africa Ecosystem Builders Summit and Awards, established a South African Startup Awards, selected as a Digital Africa Connector for South Africa 2023, and recognized as among the top 500 most influential people by Tropics magazine. So with that, I'd like to bring him on board and we can talk about innovation strategy, startup readiness, etc. So just a second, I will bring him on board. Hi, McKevin. How are you doing today?
Hey, Gary. How are you?
How are you? Where are you today?
I'm awesome. I think the weather is a bit better today. I mean, it seems as if we're coming out of winter. I'm not a fan of cold. So when I start feeling a bit of warmness, I think I am alive. I always say to people that I'm dead when it's winter, but when it's summer, I am alive. So I can tell you now, I'm feeling more alive.
Oh, that's great. So, but what country are you in today?
I am in Johannesburg. I'm in South Africa today.
Okay, how's Johannesburg these days?
It's good. Like I said, the weather has been better. So Johannesburg is good. Africa is good. I mean, we just came out of election, and the country is getting, the chaos is past. The country is getting back to place. Policy is in place. Government is in. So we're excited.
Oh, that's great. So, what's going on with the continent, McKevin? By the way, I hear there are a lot of Chinese on the continent. Is that true?
Listen, you are talking to a country that has about 1.6 billion people. So where do you expect them to go with a country that does not really have? They could have a land, but the land is not quite as fertile as anything else. So I think you should expect them to be at a country and a place where it's more greener. Because Africa now, is where everyone wants to have a bit of it, a bite of it. So yes,
I agree. And then, so which are the countries? So you're there. Which are the countries, if you could name the top three in terms of greatest potential, where would you say they are in terms of startups?
You have, of course, South Africa is still top, and then you have Nigeria, you have Kenya, but there is no way we can not talk about Egypt.
Yeah.
At the moment.
It's interesting, and I'm my grandmother's Egyptian, right? So she was born in Cairo, and so, but you don't hear that much about Egypt over here in the States. You see it more, about other parts of Africa. You don't hear much about Egypt. What's going on there?
I think there's a different type of perceptions on how people think about the people from the north. Sometimes it come out as if they are not, they feel like they are not Africans enough. You get what I'm saying? And some would contemplate them as they are more pro wide, or you know what I mean, and maybe try to shift themselves from that. But I don't think that is true. I don't think that is true. I just think that they have their own culture that they strongly believe in. But they trust me, they get shit done. Just like JSD, this guy, they get shit done. They're quite collaborative. They're quite informed. They really hold on to their culture now, which is a great thing for an ecosystem in a way. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just amazing because you would think, I mean, they've been the cradle of civilization, right? They've got, they're really good in the math and sciences, and they've been doing it a long time. So it just, I just don't see that many Egyptian startups. I mean, I know they have the capability, right? But it's interesting.
Mhm.
And you're right. It's like people don't understand it is, North Africa, right? And so, but yeah, how do we, so, you've got that part of it. When you look at places like Nigeria, how's Nigeria doing these days?
Great. I mean, you have. I was. I was the recent one of the recent judges for the Africa Hero Business Hero, which is funded by Jack Ma Foundation. And trust me, I happened to judge, and then they give had an opportunity for them to add more startup. I saw some crazy, amazing startups on there. And to be honest, looking at the top 20, you still see that the top 20, you still see that they still top the list. I think Nigeria are really going big into fintech. They are really doing well in that in that space. So Nigeria still they still raise quite a top. Of course, some people could look at it from the population, but I think that these are really hardworking, smart, intelligent people who want to really solve critical issues that are facing the country at the moment, especially from an economic perspective, from a finance perspective. So I think they're doing incredibly well.
And then what about places like Ethiopia? I mean, what's it like in Ethiopia today? I mean, they got some really sharp people there too, right?
Yes, I was there not too long. I was there not too long ago, and to be honest, Ethiopia has really embraced. And I'm so proud of how the government is really investing in innovation and investing in the entrepreneurs. A lot of organization, especially development organization, are shifting towards Ethiopia and of course Rwanda. But Ethiopia now is really picking up. There is nothing that you can, even from a funding perspective, you can count the amount of, and you can count that based on the amount of um, development organization that are shifting their effort towards that. But I understand that. I mean, they come from a crisis of space, so people, development organization, and other potential investors are looking at trying to uplift the country. But they are really smart people. There's some really good stuff coming out of there, and they are really determined. I think the motivation for me is the fact that is how the government has really, really prioritized innovation and entrepreneurship as kind of the key economic development.
How is it traveling to like places like Ethiopia? Is it safe, McKevin? Some of the
Yeah.
countries, I always get that question asked. I mean, I tell them directly, it depends on the country, right? It's just like in the US or places in the US you're not going to want to go, because, but how is it safe to travel or not?
It is. I mean, I think in most, if not all, African country is safe to travel, except when there is a crisis. There could be a civil right at that particular moment when you want to go to Kenya. Of course, they have some to Ethiopia. Of course, people have their tribal or their neighboring fight now and then. But I think in a very long time, I've not really seen anything really major. I just recently visited it, but also even from I stopped there most of the time when I travel across the continent. They have one of the largest airlines, so we stopped there. You could see the vibe, you could see the life. I mean, they are very lovely and very lively people, I must say.
No, that's great. And what about Kenya? How's Kenya these days in terms of the ecosystem?
Beautiful, right? Beautiful, beautiful city, beautiful people. I spent almost. I went to Kenya last year 3 times. The last time was in November, October, November, where I spent about 2 weeks there. I was hosting the second edition of the Africa Startup Ecosystem Builder Summit Award, which I founded to really support ecosystem builders. These are beautiful people. This is a beautiful country. This is a beautiful country. Of course, the government also is trying to push innovation, try to support innovation. I mean, when we talk about East Africa, you will definitely be talking about more about Kenya. So I think it's a place from a touristic perspective as well. The people are welcoming. I think it's quite beautiful. But one thing that I got a bit shocked with Kenya is taxis, Uber. Uber is cheap in Kenya than anywhere else I've ever been in my life. In my life, and I even asked this Uber driver that why is it so cheap. He didn't. I mean, he said he doesn't know because the fuel prices are not cheaper. So I think something needs to be done in that space because trust me, the rate at which the Uber is cheap let me not call it cheap. It's so affordable. It's so affordable in Kenya. It's a bit worrisome. Otherwise, it's a beautiful place.
So if you look at it, I know Fintech, like Flutterwave, right? They're a Nigerian company, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and they're worth what, $3 billion or more than $3 billion?
More than that. They are more than that. And I mean, they constantly, even the team that founded Flutterwave, I think they've also founded another platform now called Future Africa as well. And some of them have also come through a program called Accelerate Africa as well, that they really focus on they putting back. I think that's the beauty about it. They're putting back money into African startup. So they've really grown. They're doing amazing work. But I mean, if you talk about fintech, and we just mentioned Kenya, you cannot talk about. You should be talking about M-Pesa. M-Pesa, which is one of the largest fintech mobile payment platform that we have in Kenya and across East Africa, supported by Safaricom. So I think like I said, Nigeria is really doing well in the fintech space, and they're also really doing well now with trying to put together some funds to create that venture to have that venture fund that they really put into some of the startup, and they're really doing. I think they are coming up so well.
No, that's great. What
last time I checked with you, you told me that you wanted to do something in Nigeria, right?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, so we did, we had done some things in Nigeria, but then we got, we've been distracted because it's been so busy everywhere. Especially, you remember, we're into artificial intelligence, and so with, OpenAI and Anthropic and everything else that's happened, it's just it's taken off everywhere. So we haven't spent as much time because we got limited resources to travel. In terms of just it's not about the money, it's about the time, right? It takes a long time, and so that's the challenge. But we also, I think there's some of the best opportunities in the world. You got a population, as you said, 1.48 billion or 1.6 billion people in 54 countries, and the largest population under 30 growing, right? So there's a huge opportunity. Its question is, which country is the right one to go to? Because you can't hit them all. You got 270 million people just in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Gary, listen, you just hit upon the nail, right? Africa is really full of potentials, yeah. And I saw recently where a lot of Americans are really beginning to invest in Africa, especially in the prop tech space, in the product development space, and which is something we've not really seen quite wide. A lot of development have been coming from from Europe and Asia. We've not really been seeing Americans really investing in Africa so much, but recently we've been seeing them. But and also just to let you know, um, every corner or every country in Africa is a country full of opportunity. Let me give a simple example of my country, like Cameroon, where we still struggling with the huge part of Cameroon is still cash. It's an opportunity to, to look at and at one point people don't even have coins to give change in Cameroon. It's a huge opportunity there, but it's a huge bit of investment. But I think that you said something. You don't have to to be traveling across Africa. You just have to build partnership. That's the power of collaboration, right? That's the power of cross-border collaboration, and that's why people like you and I are speaking today. We met on a during COVID when we were judging some of the startups across the globe,
Yeah.
right? I think we've established some kind of a relationship, and it now how to then go to a trust perspective. If you can and you have the fund and you believe in the continent, you could create a color. We could create a color. It don't have to be me, but it could be anyone else that you build, and you don't have so that you don't have to do the back and forth. I think we should change. We should remove our mindset in that space where we have to be physically present for us to do business. We need to identify, are there challenges here, and what kind of opportunities can we have, and how can I sit where I'm sitting with the funds that I have, with the opportunity, with the power that I have to invest or to support a community, and how can I create that collaboration? How can I create with someone that I can trust? My eye on the ground, and that I can trust to build for you to be able to still tap into this huge market that Africa has.
Yeah, we just got a comment. Africa is rising. You're right. I mean, that we know that. The question is, and you look at it, which one of the countries that's growing is the easiest to do business in?
I still think that they haven't really. Something that I've experienced is that they've not really tapped into francophone countries in Africa. In a lot of francophone countries, they've really not tapped into that market a lot, because you keep seeing a lot of investors and development organizations keep looking at the more of the English speaking. But I think that's a huge market to start looking at in terms of Mali, in terms of Benin, in terms of Togo. This one countries that also are quite connected.
In Togo. So tell us a little bit about it. What's it like there?
Briefly, I mean, I was in Togo it's really up. I think I recently just saw they just launched, which I think was last. Is this if not this year, it should be late last year, where the Africa ABAN, the African Business Association Network, Investment Network, just launched. It put just launched there because the reason why they launched they put they put their offices there is because there's opportunity. I speak with a few ecosystem builders and so that are on the ground. We're busy planning even to have one of our country partners in Togo, but we started the conversation late. I'm sure that by early next year we should have that. But I think that Togo is huge with farming. It's a huge place that in terms of agriculture. It has a huge land. It's a place where people are starting to embrace innovation, entrepreneurship, understanding that to connect to have access to market. But if there's someone that could really put themselves there and with the funds and trust, they can really tap and create a broader market, for them. Same with Benin. Same with Benin. And I think these are really really untapped market. I mean, you want to also look at the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is one of the biggest in terms of resources and minerals in Africa. They also have a huge population as well. I think that those are the kind of market, and after them coming from all this civil war that they keep fighting every now and then, it comes with more opportunities. I think it just requires that someone should just trust, go in there, keep look at opportunity, the challenges that they face, and then invest. I'm very sure that there will be a huge return on your investment.
No, I think there's a great opportunity, and if you look at it, those countries there. But which one of the countries out of the 54 do you see that hasn't had the visibility but has the greatest potential? Like, you're just talking about, was it Benin, Togo?
Yeah.
Well, what other ones have potential? And what are we talking about in terms of, size of the country? Which one do you think?
I think of course, we can always talk about the size of the country from a market perspective, but if from an entrepreneurial perspective, from an investor perspective, it's not just of course we will rely on the market. The bigger the market within the country is better, but we should look beyond that. I think for that, I would think that I would see Congo, DRC, the DRC as that one melting pot.
Mm-hmm.
I still see Kenya. Kenya is huge also I see Ghana.
I hear more about Ghana now. What about Cameroon, your own home country? How's that?
Of course, Cameroon. I mean, Cameroon is still. I think that one of the things that has shifted Cameroon a lot, especially the last 10 years, has been the fact that we've had the English speaking and the French speaking, have been having this fight, and with this fight that they've been having, it has really affected investment, but it has created more opportunities. But at the same time, it created a lot of fears for potential investors to be in Cameroon. But things are shifting now, especially in the francophone in the francophone area. I happen to speak to we saw Orange Fab that are doing some amazing work in the entrepreneurial space. I've been seeing Digital Africa, which I am an ambassador to Digital Africa. That's really tapping. We've seen a huge startups that are really coming into the space, in the agricultural space, because Cameroon is really huge when it comes to farming. It's also huge when it comes to just the mobility, because we still struggle with mobility in Cameroon, where that's also a huge market to tap in. We still struggle with deliverables, and the biggest struggle Cameroon face is infrastructure, and that goes beyond only Cameroon. That in any country as well, the infrastructure is not there. But we should be honest as well that it has to, for any of these things to be achievable, the government needs to be open. The government needs to be ready. There needs to be a conducive environment. The government had to come, had to join and make sure that the environment is conducive enough. See, otherwise, Cameroon, you have this opportunity, but we need to really the fight between the English speaking and the French speaking has really the last 10, 15 years since 2015 and 16. Since 2016 has really put that country on the hold. But people struggling, they are rising slowly.
No, it's great. Listen, we're coming to the top of the hour. So closing thoughts, McKevin, and then how do people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you?
Listen, McKevin, you can Google my name. You can find me, McKevin Ayaba, on social media. You will find me on LinkedIn. You will find me on Instagram. You find me anywhere. You can just Google me, or you can also email me at McKevin. McKevin@setup.com. Or you can also find me at ASEB summit.com. But I mean, my best bet is for you to find me on LinkedIn, and then we can really connect and continue a great conversation.
Sounds great. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. And thanks to everyone for joining GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we'll be back again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, McKevin. I appreciate you taking your time.
Thank you so much, Gary. And thanks to everyone that was watching. I appreciate it. See you again.